Boom, 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 boom. I am so excited to be with you today, and I'm just so excited in general. My partner surprised me earlier this week with a weekend getaway. We're going to a mountain chalet. We're going to leave our electronics behind. We're going to get lost on hiking trails. We're going to be out in the woods. And I am so excited, so excited. This quadruple Sagittarius, I mean, my love language is, baby, let's go on a trip. And I'm like, yes. And even that much more because it's out in the woods, it's out in nature. I have to tell you that probably one of the most difficult aspects of my job, no, probably the most difficult, is having to be in front of a computer so much. I mean, truly, if I had it my way, I would just be out in the fields playing, communing with the animals, staring at the sky, singing, doing silly things. It's really where my heart is. But this is the work that I'm called to in this lifetime. And it's been so funny because when I've sat down with my guides and been like, I just want to have an animal sanctuary or I just want to have a farm, they're like, yeah, you can do that, but you also have to do this work. And I'm just like, no, I just want to be out in nature. I just want to be having so much fun. But the truth is, if I was doing that, I know I would really be missing this because this is ultimately what my soul truly wants to do in this lifetime. So I have to really work on incorporating a whole lot more of that so that there's more balance in my life. And this is the eternal struggle for Anna. I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs and work was life. And so one of the big things that I'm constantly having to do is bring more joy into my life, more play, more fun. And I got to tell you, my inner child has been on tap lately, just like, hey, 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 we got to go do something. We got to, like, go get lost. We got to something. So I'm very excited about this weekend. But I'm also really excited to be here with you today and to dive into today's topic because I have to tell you, I've been putting these notes together for several days now and just sitting with this message. And it's so important, but it's also just so empowering. And so you're going to have to just bear with me, have some patience because I'm feeling kind of, like I want to party. So we're going to kind of dive right in. First, I just want to remind you that this is our last episode in May. So I'm going to be back next week with the June Akashic forecast, which is wild. And here we are, June. Like, what? That's like basically the first half of 2026 is already gone. Like, are you? I don't even know what to do with that information, right? It's just kind of mind blowing. But in that, I want to let you know that if you are on my email list, and I hope you're on my email list, then the Monday nourishment message that went out to my community today, let them know that we are entering into a time of space, of sunshine, of preparation, if you will. I don't want to say it's going to be easy because, especially with everything happening in the world right now, that's simply not the case. But we're going to be getting a break. And this break is really meant for us to get prepared because, we're going to have some, like, it's really kicking off this last week of May and then moving into June. And we'll have some ups and downs in June, but it's not going to be anything like the previous months of 2026. And then when July comes in, get ready, hold on tight, because any astrologer who knows anything about astrology has been like, sounding the whistle for a while. It's huge. And then we move into the rest of the year where so much is going to be happening. And it's really important for us to not only like enjoy this time, love this time, thrive in this time, but also to get prepared. And, that might be with your spiritual practices. It might be in relation to your body. It could be so many things. You know what that is. And whatever it is, I just really encourage you to make it a priority moving forward. And in that, I want to ask you, our May Akashic forecast theme was prioritize the body. And I'd love to know, like, where are you at with your body? As we're coming to the end of May, like, have you noticed any shifts? Have you started talking to your body in any kind of different ways? Has anything like that come up for you? My mentorship clients have really been going through it with their body this month in different ways. And it's been so cool to see how this theme has come into fruition through their lives and experiences, and certainly my own, but this was a topic that I was really navigating in April, which I'm always kind of taken through thresholds before, like, kind of the overall collective is, so that of course I can walk you through it. But the body still continues to be a massive theme in my life and in my everyday right now with things that are going on. I'm a perimenopausal lady. And my has started sounding some alarms in new ways. And I'm just like, okay, here we go. What do you need to tell me? What's going on? So, but coming back to you, what has May been for you and your body? Like, what has come up? What has shifted? I would love, love, love to hear. So today we are diving into a topic that really asks us to flip the switch, to turn our perspective around. And it's so important because right now isn't meant to feel stable. And I want to say that one more time because it's so important for you to hear. Right now is not meant to feel stable to us. Okay. And the reason is because right now we are learning how to ride the waves of uncertainty. We're learning how to do this through the body. And that's one of the big reasons that the body has come forward in such a huge way for us to be with and to reconnect with in May, is because it is our vehicle. It is what, either enables us to thrive or to barely survive when things get really difficult. But the point just being is that right now is not meant to feel stable. And I want you to really kind of take that in. And I want you to give yourself a break, because if you're anything like me anyway, when things become unstable, I'm like, my control mechanisms come on board, and I like immediately kind of go into a type of survival mode where I'm like trying to balance things out. I'm trying to, bring things on board and do things and make it stable for myself. Right. But the reality is that right now we are in an unstable world. And so trying to stabilize anything is simply not going to work. So if you've been stressing out, freaking out, beating yourself up, which I definitely have, I want you to reframe this with me, because what we're being called to do right now is actually to focus on creating stability within, right? And that's been, again, a big part of why the body has been such a huge topic for us this month, because that's what these times are teaching us to do. And if you think about it, that's pretty incredible, right? If you're someone like me, then when difficult things come up, and yes, you go into control mechanism, but there's always this part of you that's like, it's not going to last. It's not going to last. It's only for a short period of time. But because of all of the massive change that is taking place on the planet right now, we have to understand that this is like an ultra marathon. This is not going to be over in just a couple of weeks, couple of months, end of this year. Like, we have several years of this, and every year is going to look a little bit different. And even as things are crumbling, also things are being built up. It's not like it's all a horror show. But my point just being is that we have to get prepared and to understand that this is going to last a while. And that's actually a gift. It is teaching us to become resilient. Okay. So if we're looking out at all of this instability, and we're lost in being like, oh my gosh, this is so awful. This is so tough. I can't do this. We have to understand that what's happening right now is that we are being prepared. And honestly, honestly, I am excited about this. And the reason I'm excited about this is because I believe that we are going to discover what human beings are truly capable of in these times. You know, you go back hundreds and thousands of years on this planet, our idea of personal power has absolutely been taken from us. We've been taught to lean on other people, other religions, other structures within society to even have any kind of power. And then it depended upon our gender or the color of our skin or sexual preference or our religion or any of these other things, right? So many things that we had to really lean on. We gave up our personal power a very long time ago. And right now we are being pushed to begin reclaiming this. And what's so wild is, I am also seeing this with my mentorship clients who are going through extremely difficult times with the people in their life. Maybe it's their family members, maybe it's their friends and coworkers, whatever the case may be. And, what I have been encouraging them to do, and also doing this myself, is instead of asking, why is this happening to me? The real question is, what is this teaching me? How is this benefiting me? Right? Because that's ultimately what is taking place. And that's like on a micro level. But this is also happening on a macro level. And I want to ask you this question. What if this instability isn't the collapse of humanity, but the remembrance of it? The remembering of who we are, the remembering of our power. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that like cool to think? I mean, just think about it. Like, let's take everything that's happening right now and just kind of set it to the side for a second. And I want you to think back about a difficult time in your life where it nearly broke you, it tore you down, and yet you were able to arise out of that situation in such a completely different place. You didn't even expect it. You saw an aspect of yourself you didn't even know was there. You learned more about who you are, how powerful you are, how capable you are, how resilient you are, right? And now I want you to take that and I want you to plug it in to what is happening right now. So, a good personal example of this on my end is, again, if you listen to the May Akashic forecast and even what I was sharing in April, then like I was going through it with my body. It was so difficult for me. I felt raw and exposed and insecure and just, oh, it was so, so hard, right? But what I realized as I moved through that period of time is that I've been offering up huge prayers. I've been asking, like, hey, like really dreaming into, I want to be on stages. Hey, I want my podcast to get out to millions of people around the world. Hey, I want to start teaching in person again and getting in front of big groups of people and channeling in front of big groups of people. But guess what? What do I need to do that? I need to feel really good in my body. I need to feel stable in my foundation. I need to feel secure in who I am, right? I need to have a solid foundation from which to stand upon. That's so important, not just because like, oh, I want to have a good relationship with my body, but like if I'm going to be that seen, then I need to feel secure, able, and capable of being that seen, because that is very seen. And I think for most of us, we have this propensity to want to hide, to be behind the scenes. I know when I had, prior to having my whole like team and my marketing agency, it was just me. And it was very difficult for me to kind of be out there and be in front of people and like be like promoting myself. But then when I had my team, it was no problem. I was like out there and I was, speaking at conferences and I was doing all this stuff. And when I stepped into the work that I'm doing now, it's kind of been like a revisiting of those old aspects of me, because quite frankly, like I have like an old wound of being seen, ostracized, killed, even, not just for being seen, but of course for talking about the things that I'm talking about now. Right. And so, yeah, if my dream is to be on stages and to channel in front of people and to open myself up to ridicule and hate and potential violence, right? I got to feel good in my body. I got to feel secure in my vessel. And so I was being taken through the ringer, right? But in the midst of that, I did more healing, deeper into my layers, coming into more acceptance, a new place. And I'm finding that confidence within. And again, that is what we are doing collectively and on a personal level. So, for all of us, right now is really about learning how to create stability within the body because the body was built for this. These times, this change, the movement, the truth of what is taking place right now. And so many of us are suffering because we're expecting the world to settle down. We're wanting things to go back to hand quotations normal. We're wanting all of the fractures to just, you know, disappear. And it's not going to happen. Suffering is when we're wanting things to be different than what they actually are. And they're not going to be that way for a long time. Not that we can't find beauty in the midst of the chaos, not that we cannot learn how to thrive and fully love and enjoy our life, but we do that by learning how to create stability within, right? So the goal is not to wait for the world to be stable again, for things to be going well again, to have political leaders in place again. No, we have to save ourselves. Do you understand? No one is coming to save us. And we start by doing the internal work, right? To become someone who can move with the instability, who can handle the rough seas of life, because that's life. And this is planet Earth, the planet of learning. This is not a vacation planet. This is not a planet where you get to just come and, I don't know, bebop. We're here to do big work, and our souls love it. They rejoice when we go through challenges because it helps us to expand so much. And if you are here on planet Earth, if you are alive, then you were made for these times. You are powerful. You are strong. Oops, I hit something. You are capable. And you haven't even fully realized that. And again, I think that's like what we're here to do, which is just so cool. And the how of it all is again through the body, because the body is our navigation system, right? It knows when something is unsafe, when something isn't aligned for us, or someone isn't aligned for us, when we need rest, when we need to move, when you're sick, when you're abandoning yourself. Our bodies are constantly communicating with us. It's just that we don't listen because we're so trained to focus on the external world instead of learning how to get internal, how to tune in, how to be quiet. And I hope you checked out last episode 314, I believe, where I went through a number of different practices that really help you to tune in. And it was a really cool episode because I went through and did them live for you. So go check that out. Lots of great stuff up there. You are not built to sleepwalk through what's happening right now, to dissociate, to just, distract yourself. And look, I have those days too. Oh my gosh, do I have those days where I'm just like, okay, I am just going to look at animal videos because that's what I need to do for myself right now, right? Or just go for a walk because I just need to disconnect right now, right? You're not meant to give your life away to someone, to something, to anything outside of your soul, of yourself. And I have to tell you, a lot of souls chose to be here in these times, not because destruction is fun, but because intensity reveals who we are. And that's exciting. That's pretty freaking cool. And your body knows how to adapt. It knows how to move and it knows how to strengthen if you are listening to it. And something really cool, just a side note that I realized in the midst of sitting with this message is that so much of what is happening right now is really forcing people to feel again. And I want to say that one more time. The things that are taking place on the planet right now are forcing us to feel again. And I hope you understand how powerful that is, because so many of us grew up in pain and discomfort, grew up in trauma, learned how to disassociate, learn how to be avoidant, learn how to distract ourselves from ourselves. And because so much is crumbling apart, we are being forced to reconnect with our feelings, our emotions, our body. And that is amazing. So, here are a couple of practices, a couple of things that I want to invite you to do if you need to rewrite this story for yourself. Okay. If you need to flip this perspective and kind of see things differently. All right. Also, getting in the body. So, first and foremost, move before you think. Okay. When you start feeling overwhelmed, I want you to stop analyzing and I want you to move your body, to get outside, maybe to take a shower, to just really shake up your environment. Okay. You can stretch, you can jump up and down, you can breathe, whatever. And then you can kind of see what's coming through for you. Okay. We want to begin moving out of the mind. And right now, with Uranus in Gemini and hooking up with the sun, like our nervous systems are literally being rewritten as we speak. And, whenever things start changing, first of all, we often see the shadow side first. And so the beginning parts of this transit, we are going to get overwhelmed so fast. We're not going to be able to be clear in our mind. We're not going to be able to articulate ourselves. We're going to get all messy with our communication. Like we have to slow ourselves down. So move before you think. When the mind begins to overwhelm you, get into your body, okay? Because movement interrupts spiraling. And your body was never meant to process fear while sitting in front of a screen. And I say that to you, but I am still saying that to myself because I freeze sometimes when my mental capacities like take off because my mind, I mean, as an ADHD person, as an autistic person, as a very alive person, I've often said my mind is like a 6-lane highway 24/7. My mind is very active. And so when it gets overactive, I can really get in a freeze state. And so I just end up like scrolling online. But that's not how my body like can process life, process fear, process overwhelm, because those are the same things, right? But if I get up and I go move and I do something, then I could start processing that out, right? Number 2, learn your body's yeses and nos. And this is so important for you, okay? This is also not mentally, but very much about physically, right? So the question to ask yourself is, what does contraction feel like? Because that's a no. That is fear. All right. What does openness feel like? Because that is love. That is a yes. Right. And I want you to just really start feeling into your body. Even when someone says, like, hey, you want to get some Chinese tonight? I want you to start noticing how your body feels. Does your body just like light up and you're like, yes? Or maybe you're like, ah. And if you're like, then that's a no. Just FYI. But point just being like, we need to start learning to listen to our body because our body is always communicating with us. And if you can start noticing when your body is saying yes versus when it's saying no, oh my gosh, you're going to be leaps and bounds amongst the people who are around you, right? This skill will help you to strengthen your discernment. And what a huge gift that is in these times. Number 3, stop overriding your body. Okay. So some examples of this. You're tired, but you're still forcing yourself to be productive. You're overwhelmed, but you're consuming more information. You're needing quiet, but you're choosing stimulation. you're needing rest, but you're choosing guilt. These are really powerful examples of when we override our body. And I can be so guilty of this. I can be absolutely exhausted and be like, okay, I need to go take a nap. And I go and I lay down. But what I do, I bring my cell phone with me and I start scrolling. And before I know it, an hour's gone by and I haven't slept and I feel no more rested, but I got to get back up and start moving, right? You know the story. You've done this too. There's no shame here. But the point just being is that we're overriding what our body needs and we're shoving more things into it or we're making it do things it doesn't want to do. You know, we have to start learning to listen to our body because a major, major reason why people struggle so much with trusting themselves is because they are constantly and repeatedly ignoring their body's signals. And I want to say that one more time. One of the biggest reasons that people struggle with trusting themselves is because they are constantly ignoring their body's signals. And that's huge. I don't think that, basically everybody struggles trusting themselves. They get better and better at it. But you know what I'm saying? And that's a big reason why. It's because we're ignoring what the body wants from us. So internally, we know that oh yeah, I can tell myself this thing and then I can totally make a different decision because it's fine. I'll ignore the fact that this is actually what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? You've been there. We've all been there. But that's huge. If you want to build up trust in yourself, then start following through on the things that you say you're going to do and start listening to the signals within your body. Number 4, build capacity. Let me start over. Build capacity instead of seeking comfort. And I want to do a whole podcast on this because capacity is having a real moment right now in the spiritual world and for good reason. Very similar to the fact that somatics came on board 2 to 3 years ago in the spiritual community and really have been making their way out into the mainstream over the past year and a half. That was to prepare our nervous systems for the times we're stepping into right now. And capacity is absolutely that. It's that girl, as the cool kids like to say. So when we consider building capacity instead of seeking comfort, the question is not, how do I avoid intensity? It's how do I become someone who can hold more? And this is overall the big lesson of what's happening right now, right? We are being taught to be more resilient. We are being taught to expand our capacity. And this is such a beautiful concept, honestly, because this is something that I have really been struggling with in my life over the past 6 to 8 months. And so as I have been navigating that journey with myself, I've been realizing oh my gosh, I've made my world smaller and smaller and smaller instead of continuing to expand, expand, expand. And so, of course, I'm only doing this much. I'm only capable of this much. I'm only feeling good in this much because my capacity has actually shrunk because my life has shrunk, and when you think about capacity, it's like doing things outside of your comfort zone, going to places you haven't been before, having discussions that you were too scared to have in the past. Every time we do something outside of our comfort zone, we expand our capacity. We begin rewriting the neural pathways in our brain, and then we can handle more. We can move through more. We are stronger. So, how do I become someone who can hold more? This is emotionally, energetically, spiritually, physically, right? It's huge. And again, I'm going to do a whole podcast episode on this because there's so much to say here. But if you've been feeling like I'm stuck, if you've been feeling like, wait a minute, I'm unable to move outside of this space, then this is the place. This is the spot. And we're all being forced right now in one way or another, right? Your capacity is what enables you to become the person who handles instability, period. So, fifth, make the body a place you want to live. And this takes time. This is not an overnight journey. This is probably a lifelong journey for so many of us. And so I just want to remind you of that so that you have compassion with yourself. But what's beautiful about this journey is like, you don't have to do big, wild, crazy things in order to start feeling the benefits of doing this for yourself, right? Learning how to love yourself, not punishing it, right? Not seeking perfection from it, not being so focused on the aesthetics of your body, the way it looks, but focusing more internally. How does it feel? What does it need from you? What does it want to say? How does it want to communicate with you? What does it need to express, right? You want to build a relationship with your body because remember, your body, your physical vessel is what is carrying your soul. How epic is that? That is so badass. And I think that we overlook it. We forget it. We're like, oh, body, 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 right? And unfortunately, our society, it just minimizes the body at every possible turn. It doesn't matter what your body looks like. It's not good enough. It's not whatever enough. You know what I'm saying? Male, female, it really doesn't matter what your gender is. It's not enough. That is the story we have been told since we were kids. And so we are having to rewrite that. And that's why, making your body a place that you want to live, you want to be, takes time because you have to get to know it. You have to cultivate safety within it. You have to begin listening to it. You have to begin honoring it. Like, what? But guess what? Your soul is inside of this vessel, your soul in this lifetime. And that's so freaking cool because that's your ultimate navigation system. Like you can't go wrong if you are fully connected to self, right? So I say again, I believe that right now and these times and in this instability, what's exciting to me is that I believe that we are going to discover what human beings are truly capable of. We're going to come back to our power, our sovereignty, towards understanding how government should work for us, understanding how social programs should be, looking out for everyone. Like we are doing amazing work on this planet right now. But it's going to come through difficulty because, it's been a mess for a really long time, a really, really, really long time. As humans, we are mucky, and so we are turning that ship around. So again, I want to ask you, what if this isn't the collapse of humanity, but the remembering of it? The remembering of our power, the remembering of our birthright, the remembering of our creativity and our love and our ability. That's what I want to focus on. I don't know about you, but I hope that you are on the same boat with me. So I am sending you so much love, my beautiful friend. Thank you so much for being here. And again, before I kind of wrap things up here, I just want to ask you one more time. What has shifted with you this month around your body, if anything? You still have plenty of time. So if you're getting this at the very end or years down the road, it's all good because the wisdom is here for you. And any day to begin is the right day. So I am sending you so much love. Again, be so kind to yourselves right now out in the world. We are going through so much. And don't forget, when you invest in yourself, the world benefits. Until next time.